guys, I'm Vivacious Hannah. Welcome to this video. So you might recognize what's behind me because it's where I used to film my other videos. I'm just trying this because it's closer to the window, so that means better lighting for me. And I don't know, I want to try standing in a video for once. So today I want to talk to you guys basically about what it is like to be a single Christian because I've had 18 years of experience. So the first thing I need to mention to you guys is my new hairstyle. I mean, can we appreciate it for a second? It's basically the same thing I had before, just this is a little darker. And my highlights go a little higher. You know, priorities, that's first. Anyways, my first real point is that we shouldn't build up unrealistic expectations. If you guys are following along on my Twitter, you'll know that I try to watch a new movie every single night, and a lot of them have been rom-coms. You know, it's all great and everything, just watching people find love or, you know, just watching these comedic moments. It's so easy to get wrapped up in that and be like, you know, I want that kind of life. And that's not fair of us to do. I'll also say this. I think it's a girl thing, maybe guys do it too, but I once tried to picture my dream man. You know, he has this feature from this guy and then this other feature from this guy, and you mash them all up and okay, that's my dream man. And I realized just after listing a few things that just isn't fair, you know, because I can't limit whoever I end up being with to just being so perfect, like this person that I've cultivated in my mind. You know, and I've kind of realized that I have a type, usually for celebrities and stuff, but I do still have a type. For me, it's dark-haired guys with light eyes. I might find a blonde-haired, brown-eyed guy who I end up loving for the rest of my life. I don't know. It could be someone completely different than what I think I like now. And that's the thing about humans, is we're always changing. We're always, you know, wanting something different. And I think, you know, my parents have always said around the age of 30 is when those things start kind of slowing down and you have the same tastes, you know. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but I just don't want to, you know, trap any future man that I find into this box. Like, you have to be perfect in this way, this way, this way, this way, and this way. You know, whoever we find isn't going to be perfect generally, but they're going to be perfect for us. And that brings me to my next point, loneliness. I'm going to be sharing a few books with you guys. First is Dating Declassified by Jean Mayo. Loneliness becomes my friend when it forces me to draw companionship from God that I would like to draw from another human being. You always hear people say that it's better to be alone than to be with the wrong person, and that's true. The occasional loneliness we feel now, we won't even remember when we find that perfect person. And even if there is no perfect person for you, I still strongly believe that, you know, God will give you a fulfilling life. I also want to share with you guys a story. This happened 3 or 4 years ago. I think I was a sophomore in high school when this happened. Basically, I'll call these two guys A and B. Basically, A was trying to slide into my Facebook Messenger. You know, they're not really, they're not DMs, but I was trying to be cool. Dang it. Anyways, he was trying to talk to me and he's like, hey, come over, let's hang out. And I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds great, because, you know, I was kind of lonely and I didn't necessarily want a relationship from him because he's not a Christian. You know, I'm pretty sure he did drugs and he was just all around not the kind of guy that I would want. Speaking of which, by the way, that list, definitely think of you know, character traits that you want. If you want them to be godly, kind, great with kids, great with animals, that's awesome. The physical part we shouldn't define. Anyways, back to what I was talking about. So A was just kind of trying to hang out with me, get me to come over, and I don't think his intentions were terrible. I don't think he was gonna try to hook up with me or anything, at least I hope not. I was a sophomore. That's young. I know girls out there are having sex way too early now. I don't like it. Anyways, there was this other guy, B, and I will admit he was kind of famous, so I mean, I couldn't have him in the first place, but I was just like looking at him, and he had all these different qualities that I really, really admired. I actually wrote up, I had this whiteboard in my room. I wrote on it, don't settle for an A, wait for a B. I also like this quote. It's actually a Bible verse, but it's in the book Get Lost by Dannah Gresh, and I really like the way it words it because it's from the Message Bible, and like I just mentioned, I have the New Century, so it's kind of like a different perspective. It's 1 Corinthians 7:17. Don't be wishing you were someplace else or with someone else. Live and obey and love and believe right where you are. God, not your marital status, defines your life. You can practice and prepare for being in a relationship. Proverbs 31 is great for the ladies. It teaches you how to be a righteous, godly woman and a wife. You know, if you take 1 Corinthians 13:4, for example, love is patient, love is kind, if you take the word love out of it and put in your name, does it match up? The last point that I think I'm going to make is just don't force relationships. And I'm going to read from The Chase by Kyle and Kelsey Kopecky. And this book is really good. All these books are good. Y'all should read them. It says, if you like a guy but he isn't doing anything about it, resist forcing the relationship. And, you know, you hear about all these feminists these days like, oh no, I'm going to ask the man out. I'm going to make the first move. And like, that's great for you. I used to be interested in that myself. For me, it was more just like striking up a conversation. Like, okay, I'll tell you this story because I know you ladies do it too, you know? So, like, I'll be scrolling on Instagram or Twitter or something. I'll find a cute guy, you know, checking his bio, make sure he's a Christian. I'm like, ooh, okay. So then you start picturing their last name attached to your first name. I think we as women typically tend to do that, just kind of like wonder, gee, what's my last name gonna be like? Is it gonna fit with my name? You know, what are our children gonna look like? What kind of husband is he gonna be? Is he gonna be a kind, loving husband, or is he gonna be more fun and outgoing, you know? And that's fun to imagine, but let me tell you about this one time. So, you know, there was this guy, you know, across the country. I wasn't like super like, hey, let's get in a relationship right now, but you know, I was kind of interested. I was like, okay, maybe he's cool. Maybe this is, you know, how my story begins with a man. I tried to DM him on Instagram and it all went great, except it didn't. And I wrote like this huge long paragraph just like, hey, I love what you're doing for God. You know, if you ever want to talk about any like Bible topics, Jesus topics, whatever you want to call that, you know, I'm open to talk about that, you know, you're cool and whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it was basically just kind of, you know, kissing his butt. Suck up much, Hannah, stop. You know, so I put all this thought into what I was gonna say. I said it, you know, I made sure it sounded intelligent and witty and fun and cool and awesome. And I get a reply back, thanks. I was like, gee, could this be my future relationship, you know? Is this how we meet? And then it ends up that he's like, no, back off. I'm not interested. It was so embarrassing. I've since deleted that because I just can't read it because I'm like, Anna, stop. I just kind of built up all these different qualities in me thinking like, how can he resist me? I mean, how can anyone resist me? Because I'm fabulous. But anyways, it was so funny. Like, looking back on it, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. And anyways, that brings me to my one last example. You guys know that I love Parks and Recreation. Tom Haverford meets this girl, Nadia something, and basically like when they first meet, he goes into like this British accent thing and he's just like kind of puffing himself up. He's like, alright, let me show you over here, you know, and like doing all... I just realized how bad that was. I'm sorry to anyone over in Britain or anywhere that speaks like that. Please teach me how to, because I like it, but I just can't do it. You know, so he fakes this British accent, he does all this stuff to make himself look cooler, and then April ends up telling the girl later, she's like, yeah, he just kind of did all that to impress you. If everything is different all of a sudden, that is because my camera stopped recording on the last take, and this is like 5 days later, and I had to redo the rest of my video because it did not capture on film. Just be yourself in a relationship. Don't try to be someone you're not. Don't try to force this different perspective of you on someone else. Anyways, that's it for this video. Comment down below if there's anything you want to see me do next, if you have any thoughts on this, or if you just have any questions for me in general. Subscribe to watch more videos. It'll notify you when I put one out. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and I guess I'll see you guys next time. Bye. I edited a new sort of thing. It was gonna be my banner, but I suppose it could just be a little tiny outro clip, so here it is.